All right, so we know that Joe Witt was being interviewed by the Cowboys via Skype. All right, so now we find out that Carolina Panthers, about 45 minutes ago, was actually released that they also um, interviewed Jason Simmons with Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones. So here's what's key here: the fact that Jerry Jones is part of the process. I think last year when Mike Nolan was hired, they gave him complete autonomy. Okay, you're the guy. You're the guy with the Super Bowl ring and everything else. We're going to let you figure out who you need to bring in here, and that's where he brought in Mike Nolan. He went through with all of his old boys. Hey man, I got a gig, man. We all gonna feast, okay? And brought him in, and the Jerry Jones and crew didn't have anything to say about it. So Jerry Jones um, interview was part of the interview process with Mike McCarthy. And I think there's a sense of urgency for Jerry Jones right now. So a background on him: he was a fifth-round pick out of for the Pittsburgh Steelers out of Arizona State in '98. Played 10 seasons in the NFL between the Steelers and Houston Texans, and began his coaching career with the Packers in 2015 as an assistant special teams coach for 2 years with Mike McCarthy. So here we go again with the dynamic of guys that are related and he has a relationship with. He stayed with the Packers and coached the secondary following season. Secondary, we need a guy who knows the secondary. Um, and da, 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 da. He stayed with the Packers, moving to coach the secondary the following season, and he stayed on Matt LaFleur's staff for one season after McCarthy left. So they kept him even though they got rid of Mike McCarthy for a year. And this was his first season with the Panthers. So, interesting. Not very old. Again, another minority candidate. Here's what's interesting is the Cowboys looking at minority candidates for defensive coordinator. And I'm not, the reason I say this is, and I'm not trying to be racial or anything like that, but the NFL is setting up this whole minority program hiring to try and get more minority head coaches and GMs. And if you're a team that has a guy who goes on to become a head coach or a GM, then you go ahead and get a third round commensurate pick. So if you end up getting Simmons and he becomes, does great and becomes a head coach, you're getting a third round compensatory pick. So I think that's one of the things that you're looking at here. And I think Edwards is going to be another guy that the Cowboys look at as well. So I'm hoping that they're not going to rush this process where we're just going to say, okay, we got two guys that work with Mike McCarthy, and we're going to go ahead and just pick one of those. I hope that they do as much looking around as possible. David Charles has never been a football coach. He's been a mentor, and he's worked with some of the players. But it's one thing to work with some of the players. It's another to be a defensive coordinator where you need to know all phases of the game and be able to put together a staff and a game plan and have a vision. I'm not saying that Charles couldn't do it in the same way that a lot of people say, oh, get DeMarcus, oh, damn. Get DeMarcus Ware for defensive coordinator. It's like, yeah, but you need to have some experience. So James Godley gets us over. Oh, man. Oh, Lord, it's going to be a rough halftime. James Godley, appreciate that. So here's what I got to do. Me and my big mouth. I ate a bag of Pacquiao Ghost Pepper chips. I had a Coke for a chaser and some coffee with cream. And I said, because somebody said, oh, you should do a chip challenge. And I happened to have the Pacquiao chips. I happen to have some. The one chip challenge. So at halftime, I'm going to have to eat this damn chip. I'm going to have to eat the chip. Because that's what you fans want. So anyway, speaking of hot, it's hot. Okay. Yeah, Aaron, I'm gonna have to eat that chip. I'm gonna have to eat that chip at halftime. Oh God. I'm gonna have to eat that chip. Okay, so the interesting thing is Jason Simmons. We hadn't heard anything about him being on the radar. They just popped that out 45 minutes ago. So I'm wondering who else may be on the radar as well. We know last year when Mike McCarthy was hired, they ended up bringing in um, Marvin Lewis for the first interview, and then they had Mike McCarthy, and almost immediately Mike McCarthy was boom head coach. Um, so we've got two people. Oh, sorry, we got two people already have interviewed. We'll see if the Cowboys end up interviewing anybody else, but I hope that they get a good defense coordinator because we need somebody who can teach these defensive backs and our linebackers how to tackle, pursuit angles, and really about how to be a great player. So there's that. All right. I'm going to regret that damn chip sometime tomorrow. Hope you realize it. No joke. There's no guarantee that Dak resigns. You're right about that. That's true. If you have to eat 10 of those chips, if I have to eat 10 of those, if I eat 10 of those chips, if it would guarantee that we get Dak Prescott signed to the contract that he wants, yeah, I would do that. But I'd also say, Dak, buddy, you got to let me hold something. If I got to eat 10 chips so Jerry Jones will get him that contract, you got to let a brother hold something on that, okay? I hear y'all cheering for chip, 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 chip. Okay. All right, so halftime. Halftime. The chip challenge is on. Oh, my God. All right, y'all. I'm going to be in the toilet later. Maybe. I wish I had eaten some lunch beforehand. What would be my plan? What would be your plan if Dak decided to walk from the ball offer from Jerry? Hey, if he decided to walk, then hey, okay. What can I do? If he decides I don't want to be the coach, the quarterback of the Cowboys, I mean, what can I do? Chip gonna be hotter than Philly 500 on draft day. Damn, Brian, that's pretty hot. Uh, Mike's like, nah, bro. He's like, you're on your own. We have not won as what? It's at halftime, man. Halftime. Okay. Let me at least let the first bag of chips get through my system. Okay. I ate a whole bag. Damn. If Dak walks, we need to draft somebody. But the Reaper, the problem is who you gonna draft? Because we're drafted at 10. There's not a lot of great quarterbacks out there, and there's a lot of teams that are looking to draft a quarterback. So you'd have to move up. You'd have to be trading some shit to get there. Mark, eat something before the chip. Well, I only got 6 minutes and 50 seconds until halftime. So stay tuned. Oh, man. It's going to be on.